grade for friend of the show, Josh Allen, and the Buffalo Bills. They also fired their defensive mastermind coach, but all of a sudden they got better somehow.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were supposed to just continue to give up 33 points a game in the playoffs.
I'm just saying, all of a sudden the defense is good. Why?
Well, that is a question. I do like Joe Brady. I think that's a good move. But I do have legit questions about will the defense be as good. You mentioned Von Miller. I think the Bradley Chubb signing, now he's only 29, but for some reason he feels a lot older.
Because he's dealt with injuries.
I know he was right. He feels a lot older. It feels a lot like the Von Miller deal. But we'll see. And then I love DJ Moore. He is a legit #1 receiver. I think Shakir and everybody kind of fits now in their spot.
Yep.
So I like that. So, you know, a B. I'm calling it like I see it.
Just for the, I know.
I can't give.
If you're watching this,
I think it's a B.
You think that we just put the question mark cloth back over it? It's not what happened.
No, they
took off the B. It went backstage and it came back out, and it was just the B again.
I mean,
all right. Okay. So
another B.
So this doesn't mean that the moves. What I'm about to say does not mean the moves they made won't help them in 2026. But do you agree with me that the DJ Moore trade and the Bradley Chubb signing feel like the moves of a, let's call it, semi-desperate GM? Of a GM who feels like, while Joe Brady's like, this is year 1 of, this isn't year 10, or that the GM feels like clock ticking. Trade, to me, giving up what they did for DJ Moore and then also giving him a new contract, which they didn't have to do, and paying what they paid for Bradley Chubb when they should know more than any team in the league, like signing the older pass rusher coming off, major injuries is a risk. Like that, those felt like.
But I think he's correct. I don't want to say necessarily time is ticking on Bean. However, they got rid of the coach.
Yes.
Who's next? It's
Correct.
not the quarterback.
Not the quarterback.
So he better, and he knows, even though it's Joe Brady's first year, we're S-by.
So that is why, and I should have said, just to be clear on the Ravens thing, I would have, for the Ravens, hated the Crosby trade. Because I think trading.
So you like the Trey Hendrickson thing better?
I think Trey Hendrickson plus your first-round picks is better than Max Crosby with the contract it was going to be minus the first-round pick. So I think that ended up being a net positive for them because I think that was a mistake. But on the Bills, I think there is such a benefit to having a front office that can feel like, with my, soon-to-be or just turned 30-year-old future Hall of Fame quarterback, I'm looking at the next 3, 5, 7 years rather than this year. We're going to talk about the Chiefs in a minute. They did the opposite of a Max Crosby trade. They traded away Trent McDuffie. With the Brett Veach feeling like I am not on the hot seat at all. And I feel I know it's different, but I'm saying I think that benefits Patrick in the long term. And I think that for the Bills, you now have the weird construction of a defense that I think is by definition going to be worse, rookie head coach, and a GM making win now moves.
Okay, let's be real for a second. Sometimes Mondays just hit you differently. They really do. This weekend, I posted some videos that I genuinely loved, content I was proud of, that resonated. They felt great. Then Monday rolls around and you're staring at the calendar, realizing it's the middle of March. There is only so much legitimate news to dissect. This is precisely why I have so much respect for shows and segments like the one we're reacting to. I genuinely do, even though I'm about to disagree with a significant portion of it. It takes effort for producers and showrunners to look at the dead period of the offseason and say, hey, it's March. What on earth are we going to talk about? We can't just recycle the same tired narratives. So, despite the fact that this particular segment makes my brain want to explode, I am grateful for it. It gives us something to consume, to analyze, and to generate an emotional response around. I truly, truly appreciate that. Appreciate. But we need to address the core premise here. The idea that we should be building NFL teams as if Josh Allen has another 7 years of prime football ahead of him. What are we even talking about? That logic is fundamentally flawed. And comparing the Buffalo Bills situation to the Kansas City Chiefs situation is apples and oranges. It has nothing to do with the Chiefs' past success or their reputation. It's about roster construction. Kansas City needs to undergo a retooling, a rebuild, or whatever terminology you prefer. They are in a completely different phase of their team's life cycle than the Buffalo Bills. This isn't about who is on the hot seat or reputation management. The Buffalo Bills need to be making aggressive moves right now, this very offseason. I actually like the move to bring in Bradley Chubb. Let's look at how that contract is structured. The Bills aren't acting like a team that just handed out a $200 million deal with $175 million guaranteed. The way the deal is constructed, it's largely all reward with minimal risk. Even in a doomsday scenario, God forbid he gets injured tomorrow and never plays a snap, I don't think it handcuffs them financially. I genuinely don't. And look, as much as I would love to see Josh Allen paired with an absolute bona fide #1 wide receiver, the kind of dude who can redefine an offense, we have to be realistic. This is something I've touched on before regarding the Stefon Diggs era. We never truly got to see the perfect storm. A great wide receiver, paired with a great offensive coordinator, and a mature, fully realized version of Josh Allen who understands the nuances of NFL quarterbacking. We've seen that combination with Patrick Mahomes. We've seen it with Joe Burrow. We've seen other elite quarterbacks get that opportunity. But in Buffalo, it never quite aligned in that perfect way. That said, the reality is that the Bills have achieved a remarkable level of success with Josh Allen, a strong offensive line, and Joe Brady calling plays. If the team simply needs reliable wide receivers, if they just need a dependable passing game, or more accurately, a reliable catching game, because Josh Allen's delivery is reliable, they can win. Look at the games last season. They beat the Denver Broncos, they beat the New England Patriots, and they probably should have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. Having consistent options changes everything. No further evidence is needed than the final drive against the Broncos in the playoffs. Do you remember who Josh Allen was throwing to on the most critical possessions of that game? He was targeting players who, collectively, had received maybe 12 targets from him all season long. He was throwing to guys he had essentially never played with in high-leverage situations. That is a fundamental structural problem. Now compare that to Matthew Stafford in the divisional round against the Bears. On the most crucial, must-have-it play of the game, he's firing to Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. That is the difference between a contender and a pretender. So, when the Bills bring in a player like DJ Moore, and I'm using that as an example of a move, not a prediction, maybe it isn't the flashy Puka Nacua type home run, but you hope it becomes more like the Devontae Adams or Odell Beckham Jr. acquisitions that propelled the Rams. I'm trying to think of another comparison, a move that isn't necessarily the boldest headline, but still moves the needle. Honestly, nothing else comes to mind immediately. But those types of additions matter. They absolutely, positively matter. So I'm in favor of the Bills' approach. I don't see it as desperate. I genuinely don't understand how anyone could characterize it that way. The general manager and the front office in Buffalo seemingly have the full, unwavering support of ownership. Desperation would have been trading the farm for a Max Crosby, packaging 4 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders for one player. That's not what they're doing. They're being calculated. And this ties back to a point I just made in my Baltimore Ravens video. I find it incredibly difficult to believe that quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson will be playing at an MVP level when they're 35. I just don't see it. I want to be wrong so badly. I love watching all of these guys play. You already know how I feel about Josh Allen. In case you're new here, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the National Football League. Let's be perfectly clear about that. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL by a significant margin. But I am not confident in this made-up 5 to 7 year timeline that analysts like to throw around. I am not confident in that at all. Not one bit. And I feel the same way about Lamar and Mahomes. Everyone seems to operate under the assumption that these guys are just going to play at an elite level into their late 30s and 40s, and it's all going to be fine. Let's go, baby. I would want nothing more than that. But I am not banking my franchise's future on that assumption. I am not making personnel decisions based on the belief that we have Josh Allen locked in for 6 more prime years. I don't know how great he's going to be 6 years from now. Are you kidding me? Every season now, I watch Josh Allen in absolute agony. Whether it's his foot, his hand, his wrist, or his shoulder, the dude is taking an absolute beating, a relentless pounding. And look, if Josh Allen needed to transition into a pure pocket passer tomorrow, I still think he'd be elite. But Josh Allen still has that dog in him, that reckless abandon that makes him special. He's not going to be the first one to sign up for a game manager role, so who knows how he'll actually age in terms of his approach. But I am fully supportive of the Buffalo Bills taking big swings and going for it right now. Furthermore, let's follow the logic that everyone else seems to be pushing. All last season, people cried and screamed, "This is the Bills' best chance because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are vulnerable." Now, Nick is essentially arguing that the Chiefs aren't taking big swings to be great right now. Therefore, according to that logic, you're getting a lesser version of the Chiefs this year than you might have gotten in the past, or than you might get in the future. If that was a valid argument last season, why wouldn't it be valid this season? Nick doesn't think the Ravens are having a good offseason. Okay? He doesn't believe in the Patriots. He thinks they're taking a major step back. He thinks the Broncos are scarred and regressing. He doesn't believe in the Colts. He's skeptical of CJ Stroud and the Texans. If all of those assessments are true, then it seems pretty obvious that if the Buffalo Bills can make some strong moves and take a step forward, they'll be in a prime position to compete for a Super Bowl. No? Isn't that the logical conclusion? Yeah, I think so. If you follow that logic through, it's pretty basic. It's standard stuff. If Nick's own conclusions about the state of the AFC are accurate, then this is exactly what the Bills should be doing. Are you kidding me? Everyone else has supposedly taken a step back, and you're in a position to step forward? Yeah, that seems pretty smart to me. So, I don't understand the problem. Why would you have an issue with how the Bills are operating if you believe the rest of the conference is weakening? It doesn't make sense to me, but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Buffalo Bills offseason? How do you feel about giving them a B grade? What about the idea that they're being too aggressive or operating on too short of a timeline? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, whether you agree with me or disagree. Either way, let's get some discussions going. Let's get into some friendly fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun with it. And please, do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you be a part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something we are really excited to be a part of. I think we are well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.